Bigger Talks, IG Live edition. We have another podcast episode with the founders of Culina Health, educational and personalized nutrition, dietitian, healthy eating company and brand. We have the founders, Tamar Samuels and Vanessa Risotto. That's going to be joining us here soon.
Hi.
Good morning, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm phenomenal. Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday.
Tomorrow. How's your day so far?
It's good. How's yours?
Good. Just getting ready for you girls. I mean, I've been doing some research and I have a lot of questions.
Cool. We're happy to answer them.
Are you guys in the same city right now? Or
She's in Brooklyn and I'm in Hoboken.
Hoboken. That sounds like money over there. I think Jay-Z kind of said that in a song, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. We live down the street from where Frank Sinatra was born, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to add her to press the join. Okay, here she go. There she is. I invited her, so hopefully she'll be on soon.
Cool.
Yeah, I have a lot of questions, because, I've read you both are registered dietitianists, right?
Yes.
And I think, I don't know when she's going to come in, but I'm curious to know what's the difference between a dietitian and a nutritionist. I'm confused.
Let me clear it up.
Clear it up, please.
Let me clear it up. Okay, so anyone can call themselves a nutritionist, which is a shame. Because dietitians are the only ones that are trained to reduce the burden of disease. Nursing students, PA students, we have to train in a hospital for 1,200 hours. We have to take a nationwide mandated exam and then we can practice. So being a registered dietitian, we can treat you like more holistically and scientifically and clinically and critically than just somebody who read a book.
So hold on, but isn't it a certification to be a nutritionist and a dietitian? Don't you have to have a certification or go to get education, go to school? Is that...
Anyone can call themselves a nutritionist. So like today, Eric, you can wake up and be like, I'm a nutritionist, and that's it. Because our license is not protected because our governing body doesn't protect our license.
Got it. And that's also, I read that you guys are 91% insured. What does that actually mean?
We are 91% of our patients use their insurance benefits. So they exercise.
Oh.
Right. So we're the only ones that can take insurance. A nutritionist cannot take insurance.
Hey!
And so a nutritionist is still in their like elite, very, if you can't afford me, then you can't see me kind of existence, where we are for the masses.
Wow. That sums up everything. I'm trying to invite tomorrow here. Yeah, that just separate you guys from... There she is.
Hey.
What's up? I got the dynamic duo.
We're here.
Welcome. Happy Tuesday.
I just told Eric how dietitians are the goats, and his mind was blown.
Yeah, it's a little secret out there that anyone can call themselves a nutritionist. It's actually pretty scary because we have really comprehensive healthcare training in clinical settings, and people are just not aware.
Yeah, they're not aware in language, right? Triggers people differently. And so if you put a certain name in front of a name, you have a perception. So As a fitness trainer, as a person in the self-help industry and I study human psychology, I have words. Words have meaning to all of us and we give it our own meaning. But no one really talks about dietitian versus a nutritionist. Nutritionist is what you hear like, at least here in LA, We got the Herbalife people. We have all types of, like, no disrespect to the brand, but I'm just saying, like, health coaches. And
Yeah.
I'm just curious. So Culina Health, where did the name come from? It's kind of spicy. I think, like, when I think of Culina, I'm thinking that's like a hot, spicy, like mamacita, like, oh my God, healthy, but she's hot. Like, hey, what's your name? Let's have a healthy dish, but I might kind of sway you in. But hey, so where did the name come from?
Well, Vanessa and I are obviously very spicy and hot and healthy, so
Duh.
it fits the name. But Culina actually means kitchen in Latin, and we believe that good health really starts in the kitchen. You know, it's so foundational to pretty much all of our being. So that's where the name came from.
Kitchen health. I love that. So where did you girls your journey start far as like eating healthy, eating clean, or just having an intention of like, I want to change my diet? Or was this something you both grew into or was born into?
I mean, I have to say that I'm really lucky. My mother was never someone that was overly concerned about her weight, right? My mother's from Haiti, third world country. She's in America. She's a nurse. She's married. She can provide for her family. And so if she's cooking food and you're eating it. Um, and so that was good and bad. I didn't understand food. I just knew that my mom cooked food and I ate that and that was great. And then I went to college in the Bronx and I gained 50 pounds in a 4-year period. What happened though is that after college, I moved back home because I couldn't afford to live on my own. And I started eating my mom's food again and I lost 50 pounds pretty quickly. And that got me very curious about how that happened, right? I was always like very inquisitive. And so I just went and saw a registered dietitian myself. Her name is Carrie Glassman. She's a good friend of mine to this day, and people know her. She's wonderful. She just explained food to me in a very pragmatic way. There was like no good food, no bad food. This is how food affects your body. If your goal is weight loss, you would operate in this manner. If your goal is a better relationship with food, then maybe you have a little bit more leeway. And all of these things can fit in between. And I just thought like it was amazing. And it was also scientific. And I could get my mind around that. And I thought maybe I could do that for other people. And that's how I ended up here.
Oh, I like that. Shout out to mom.
Yeah.
Haiti. Yay. What was
Yeah.
she cooking?
Yeah, good food. I mean, like right now, Eric, you can go to my mother's house. What time is it? Here in New York, it's 1:25, but for you, it's like 10. There is rice and beans on the stove, freshly made every morning.
Really?
She might make a lasagna for dinner, but there's always rice and beans just in case, like, you know, you might not like the lasagna. Or maybe you want rice and beans and your lasagna. I don't know, but it's always there.
Damn, mom. Can I get a plate?
Yeah. Yeah. Always.
Wow.
Oh, I love it. I know Vanessa's mom's rice and beans are like literally the best, and I've had a lot of rice and beans in my life. They're so good.
So good. So good.
Next time you're in Jersey, you'll have to
Yeah.
try them out.
Yeah, hit us up.
Yeah. Well, my journey started just kind of with my own personal experience. I actually was born in the Lower East Side in New York, but I was raised in Woodstock, New York. Some of you may know of it. It's a small hippie town that had this big concert where everybody raged and did a lot of unhealthy things. But health is sort of like a big part of that community. It's in the Hudson Valley in New York, and there's a lot of local farms there. And so I sort of grew up like eating really whole, clean, so to speak, foods. And so I was always like really passionate about, you know, eating this way. And it was sort of like I just thought everybody ate that way. And then I moved to New York when I was a teenager and I started working with kids in Harlem, and they didn't have access to these foods like at all. Harlem now is pretty gentrified and there's a Whole Foods there. So back in the day, I won't age myself, when I was working there, it was kind of a food desert. And so I just became really passionate about like supporting communities of color, supporting just people who didn't have access to healthy foods. And I worked with a dietitian, teaching kids healthy eating, and was like, whoa, this is a career. I'm going to do this. So I kind of just dove right in, got my master's. And actually, Vanessa and I met at Mount Sinai. She was my preceptor. So she helped train me as a dietitian 7 years ago. And that's how we connected for the first time. Yeah.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
Education, information. And I think, you know, I'm from Baltimore, Maryland, grew up in the inner city. And where I'm from, food was just food, right? You saw it, you know, you go to this store, get this type of food, and you would eat. You didn't think of it, how it made you feel, how it made you think, if you were, you know, if you had any symptoms. So what is food, right? Because I know we eat it. It's like for people who don't work out as much or who don't go to the gym, when they go to the gym, they don't know exactly what they're doing or what to do. And I think as Americans, at least in my world, people have food because they know that they should eat it, but what are they eating, right?
Yeah.
Because food is like what it like what is food? Like I know it's like such a what is it, a self-explanatory, you know, question, but from your guys' perspective, because you are a dietitian, what is food and how do you see it? What is your perspective and meaning of it?
I mean, I feel like it's so multifaceted, right? Like food, first of all, is like cultural. It's how you connect with your friends. It's how you connect with your family, right? Like there's that piece of food. Food is fuel, right? It's how you take care of your body, right? It's like a form of self-care. Maybe food is a way for people to show love because maybe I don't have a lot of monetary means, but I'm a really great cook. And so when you come to see me, I feed you. Like the thing about food is that everyone has to eat and everyone has a relationship with food, whether or not, and the relationship is complex. The degree of severity of complexity that differs, but everyone's got one, right? And so if you walking around saying like, oh, I just eat, I don't know, like it's bullshit, right? Like you feel some kind of way about the things that you're eating, for better or worse. So for me, like I always, when a patient comes in, I always honor that, right? Like you have a relationship with food. So like, let's talk about that relationship first, and then let's try to use the food to help meet whatever goal it is that you have.
Yeah, I mean that's spot on because I'm aware that when I want love, I go to sugar, right? I want candy, I want cake. You know, I'm feeling a void, right? Or some people emotionally eat, or when you're bored and you have food in the fridge, you just eat, and but we're not intentional about it. We're not mindful. There's also a book called The Enzyme Factor, and he talks about chewing your food, right? As individuals, we don't normally chew our food, therefore we don't digest the food the way it needs to be digested in our system and get all the nourishment from it. So we keep eating, and that's how we somewhat, you know, gain weight because that food is just going down the pipe, but it's not being broken down. He talked about food combining, like combining certain foods together to kind of affect how you feel and your body. So I also know there's something, I could be wrong, but correct me, eating for your body type and eating for your blood type. So when you take on clients or when you take on patients, like what's your analysis process? Do you kind of take them through a whole, like, do you do blood work? Do you do background, where they from, DNA? Like, how does that work to get into someone's world of what they should be eating to have a balanced, healthy life?
Yeah, okay, let's just do a nutrition myth debunk right now. The blood type diet is not evidence-based. There's no science to support it. Don't waste your time. So there's that. There's definitely something to be said about like mindful eating, Eric. Like you mentioned that earlier, eating intentionally, chewing your food. Like I have an 8-month-old and she's easing into like eating food for the first time. And damn, she eats so slow. I'm like, sis, are you almost done? Like, what is happening here? Like, I'm at 30, 40 minutes and like, I'm done with my plate. Like, what's going on with you, right? And this is how we as humans are supposed to eat. We're supposed to eat really sort of tuned in and kind of paying attention to the way that our food tastes, how it feels in our mouth. Sharing food as part of a community and a family. And so the mindful eating aspect, I think, is really important. As far as like determining the right way to eat for each person, don't pay attention to the blood type diet, but do pay attention to a lot of different things, starting with, as Vanessa was saying, your relationship with food, really unpacking that and what it looks like, any health conditions that you have, right? Eric, you're super physically active, so maybe it's okay for you to have more carbohydrates, have a little bit more sugar here and there, right? Really kind of lean on grains more. But if you're type 2 diabetic, maybe not the best option, right? And so what's right for you to fuel your workouts might not be right for somebody else who's managing a different clinical condition, who has different biochemistry, right? So we really work with our clients to really dig into their medical history, any symptoms that they have. Some people, maybe they experience like a lot of lightheadedness and dizziness. Maybe they need more carbs, right? And so really working not just on the medical chart and knowing kind of what clinical conditions you have, but any symptoms that maybe if you would go to a doctor, they would be like, oh, sorry, there's no medication to help you with that, right? Like we're going to say, actually, you know what, there's something here. Like, let's unpack this. Let me see what's going on in the diet. We think about sleep. We think about family and how much time people have, right? Their resources. So we really do a deep assessment on access, food preferences, social, emotional, relationship with food, clinical conditions. And then we can start piecing together a personalized plan that is really sustainable for people. And that's sort of how, like, that's the difference between working with a professional and not, and trying keto because,
Right.
you know, this influencer on Instagram is doing it.
Yeah, and it's interesting because, you know, it was in my questions that I have for you. I was like, how does a person build rapport or a better relationship with food if their relationship with food is not as healthy? How do you, what space do you have to get a client or person in to like have a healthy relationship with food? Because some people, they feel like if they eat too much, they're going to be a certain weight, or they feel like if they don't eat enough, then they're not getting the energy they need. Or how, you know, if you're, you know, dealing with a client, what's the best way to build like a better relationship with food if you don't have one? And how does that work, if anything?
I think it takes a lot of time, right? Like, I think people just think that they're, by the very nature of like coming to see us or reading a book and the like, then that's going to solve all the problems. And people don't want to admit that all of this is actually like pretty hard work. And I'm not one of those people, right? I'm one of those people that is like grinding every single day, always working, like no
Yeah.
rest for the weary. Like you cannot catch me ever. And so no excuses, right? But you have to think about like, what if you grew up food insecure and your mother had an eating disorder? That is going to skew the way you think about food. And if that's, and you spend how much time in your mother's house, like from infancy to most people 18 and maybe some people till they're 20 something. Okay. And now I'm going to be out on my own and I'm going to magically fix that in 3 sessions. Like, no. So for us, when someone comes to us, right, it's this education, but also like holding space for them, non-judgmental, and like, you know, being really supportive and letting them know like it's okay that it's not perfect every day. You don't need to be perfect every day. You are enough. Like we're going to work on this and it's going to be a journey and I'm committed to you. So you're going to be committed to me and we'll get there, but it's not going to happen overnight. And I think when you give people that permission, they have more wins.
Yeah,
And that's,
the quick fixes are like so insidious in our industry. I mean, it's like a multi-billion-dollar industry. Like we've been selling quick fixes for nutrition for decades, right? And it's just not effective. That's why we still have an obesity epidemic. That's why, you know, that we're really struggling as a nation with our health. And, you know, the reality is that it's not a quick fix. It takes time.
yeah, and it definitely, that's life though. That's a life lesson. That's in relationships, that's in your career, that's in your profession, whatever you do. It takes time for things to develop and to evolve, to have better rapport, relationship, if you want it to work. I just think people think about food in such a pleasurable way, right? Like, this is going to make me feel good, so I'm going to eat it. But as we get older, especially, you know, with myself being a trainer, being fit, you know, your body changes, right? Like, and for me, I had earlier this year, I was having like digestive issues, like my stomach. I was like, I don't like this. Like I'm bloated all the time. Like, hold on, E. Like, what's going on? Well, I got IBS. Like, my mom's like, no, you don't. You don't have that. Stop saying that. You don't have that. I'm like, Mom, but I feel like she's like, don't claim that. I don't even know what I'm talking about. I'm just trying to claim something because I feel good, right? My mom was like, stop. You don't have that. Relax. So anyway, I was like, you know what? Let me try something different. So in February, I went on like a fast. I said, you know what? I'm just going to eat fish. Because I remember when I was on a show a few years ago, I just had all fish. That whole month I was gone and I was leaner. I felt better. And I lost some weight. Then I went vegan, right, for like 21 days. And I was like, it was cool, but I just felt very low on energy, you know? And then I started doing more research and I was like, I think it works, but it might not work for everybody. And I think they try to put food and everything that they put in front of us that one size fit all. It's not true. You know, I know people who eat meat and steak and they live a great life and are healthy. And that's why information can be misinformation. And we're taking it in as a consumer, not knowing what we're taking in or what to believe. And when I think of you guys' brand, Culina Health, I'm thought you guys was a food prep company, right? That provide meals. What's that company? Is this Sakuki or
Oh, Sakara.
right? That's the energy. That's the perception. I thought like, oh, these ladies are great. It is professional. It looks well. I thought you guys took on clients. You had your own like recipes, and you made the food, and you had a delivery service, and you guys are on a more so educational basis, or you said science based. What for your company, and you guys was in Essence, Women's Health, and Refinery 29. So is your demographic more women, or who do you cater to the most?
No, we cater to everyone actually. Like that was like part of our mission, right? The reason why we decided that we're going to take insurance is because we wanted everyone to be able to have health, right? Like if you want health, whatever that looks like to you, you should be able to do that. And so I think it's because we are women and we talk about nutrition in a very different way, right? Like 10 years ago, the New York Times did an article on a dietitian, we won't say what her name is, and about how she charged $10,000 for a package. And she was very like thin and very white and very rich. And so if you're the regular person who doesn't look like that, reading that article, you're like, well, I'm never going to be able to be this because I'm not this and I don't have those means, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing.
I don't
And
relate.
so,
Yeah.
I don't relate. So
Exactly.
now, and 81% of registered dietitians are white women. And so now you have two brown people, right, talking to people of color and to everybody else, right? Like not just people of color, anybody, just anybody who isn't that, like super thin and super rich and like just like regular human beings in a way that people can understand. When I'm talking to you about food, Eric, like I've seen your eyes light up a few times in this conversation that are making you think in a different way. It's very simple, very easy. So you're like, wait, I'm into this energy. I want to hear more from this person. Like this is really interesting to me. And so that's the message and that's the mission. And that's why people and women are the drivers of food, right? In the house, it's always like, who's doing this grocery shopping? The mom, the wife, the girlfriend, the woman, right? Because
Everything.
everything,
Who's doing
right?
everything?
So
The mom, the wife, the girlfriend.
yeah, and then it's all us. And so it's also when you just said your mother like said don't claim it. I'm like, is your mother Haitian? Because that is something a Haitian mother would tell you. Do not put that out there. Don't say those words.
Yeah. Oh, I was like,
nope.
don't say that. Stop saying that.
Yeah, that's stop it. You're gonna bring that to yourself anyway.
Yeah.
But so I think like we've been in those magazines or those publications because for so long it's only been thin, rich white women. Why do they get to dictate the narrative around health and wellness? Why are they the only ones that get to tell us what health and wellness and beauty is? That's not even what the world looks like. That is not the makeup of the world, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
why are we so when they see us, they're like, wait, we got to put these people in because this is who's buying the magazine. This is who's clicking on the site. People got to see
Yeah.
them.
And it's so important because, you know, I had a friend that works at Telepicture. She's like up in like executive, and she was like, you know, black men don't work out. I'm like, huh? Like, what do you mean? Like, tell me, like talk. I was like, we work out. She was like, yeah, think about how many friends you have and that you grew up with that even play sports. Do they work out? And I was like, damn, they don't.
Yeah.
But then I started thinking, like, when I started training out here, like 2012, and I would go back home to Baltimore, you know, we got McDonald's, we got Wendy's, we got the corner store, we got the liquor stores, we got the penny candy store, right? And I'm like, and I'm seeing people I went to school with when we were in high school and they get older, and I'm like, yo, people bodies is changing, right? And I'm like, hold up. But then I think about the environment we live in, right? Or I was living in, I was around, like, oh, this is programming. We're conditioned, right? There's no Whole Foods. You know, not that Whole Foods is the best grocery store. There's no Whole Foods. There's no Panera Bread, right? There's no Tender Greens or Sweet Greens in those areas. So what are we eating? Fried food, fast food, unhealthy food. but it's good. So why shouldn't I eat it? And so I have a bigger question. Why do you think that the thin white woman was the person who controlled the narrative for the people to eat and be and look like? But then you have this black and brown community, I can't speak on others, but where I come from, we're heavily invested into unhealthy eating, junk food, fast food, fried food, greasy food, but it's good, but we're not really thinking about our health. And then as we get older, our body, how we think, and we get different symptoms from different diseases, and no one talks about it, and it's just forever gone. And I'm like, hold on, we have to change the narrative. We have to shift the paradigm. How do we speak about food in a healthy way to make us feel better, look better, think better, and see life from a different perspective? Because this is not good, right? But we don't know better. So I can't hold my people accountable when they don't have the information. Why is it so programmed like that?
Yeah, it's part of the system, right? When we say like African Americans have a propensity towards type 2 diabetes, that makes it sound as though because you are African American, you are predisposed to having type 2 diabetes, when it's really like the lack of access, the lack of education, right? These are the reasons for that. There's also this like ideological racism that like white seems to always be right? That's like programmed inside of us, right? I mean, people don't want to recognize, or they want to say these things that are true, that like, I mean, in 1969 we were sterilizing black women in the South so that we wouldn't have any more black babies. 1969 is 51 years ago, 52 years ago, right? So those things are real, right? And so when you see like the rich white thin woman who seems to have it all being vegan, then that must be the right thing for me, because I don't have any value. I have never been taught to have value. What I think about health is not good. Like, but fam, what's the difference between a collard green and kale? No difference. It's the same thing.
Right. There we go.
Right?
Yam, sweet potato.
Language.
Yeah, it's the language. It's the language. It's the language.
Exactly.
And it's very interesting actually, like growing up Caribbean, because I always thought that like I was taught like American food, right? It's not white food or black food. It's American food, McDonald's, and like that is not food that you would eat because it's not healthy. But rice and beans and plantains and fruits and spinach, that's healthy food, and that is healthy food, right? And so as long as we're not eating processed food outside of the house, find any Haitian, they'll be like, I don't know, outside my mother's house. Like we eat inside. So I didn't understand that people, when they were talking about like, it's black food, and like I fell into that category, and I'm like, you have obviously not eaten at my mother's house, and I was always this big my whole life. And so I think it's really it's about a system, and it's about not seeing people that look like you. It's about the representation. The more that they see people like you, Eric, in the gym working out, then the black kid, right, will say, oh, no, I can work out. That's not a white thing to do, because Eric is this trainer that I follow and he's amazing. Or like, oh, I care about eating. No, I don't want to. It's not because I think I'm white. Black people care about their health. Look at these two brown women running a nutrition company. Like dietitians exist, right? Like
Culina, hell, yeah.
So like it's our mission, like it's our duty to be in everyone's face so that they could see us, and then it could relation. So representation also matters.
Yeah. And you hit it on the nose, because I always say people go off what they see and not what they know, right? So, for the bachelor world, if there's a black guy that's the lead, right? Doesn't matter his background, right? But that he's black, right? I have nephews, right? If they see more black men like that, right, in that space in suits, maybe they think like, I don't always have to pick up a basketball, right? I don't always have to rock the mic, right? I can look nice. Or, you see two beautiful women like yourself, like, ladies, look. We can eat healthy. We can eat clean. We can also enjoy something that's pleasurable, right? But this is how we do it. And this is why we should do this. And this is what works for you. But we don't have, as a culture, I think, a healthy relationship with those things, because there's not enough of us in that place for people to see it, to relate. Because honestly, for me, I get it on the opposite end, where people are afraid to tell me they had a cake or cookie, because they automatically put me in this health nut space that, oh, you eat healthy. And I'm like, no, I eat cake, I eat, right? Or I get people, but easy for you to say because you work out. I said, yeah, but it's work. You know,
Yeah.
like I gotta get up early every day. I have to like it's a choice. I'm not saying that you gotta live like me, but it's not as easy as it looks.
Right.
I gotta
Right.
show up every day. But I think
Right.
these conversations, I think, you know, your business and your what you ladies provide is so vital for not only women, but people of color for sure. Because
Yeah.
it's not a lot of in this space that I know that I'm aware of. And I just think health has been the biggest neglect in the past, year and a half since the pandemic. That's what it's all been about, right? It's health.
Yeah.
How you eat, right? How you think, how you feel, what you give your energy to. So when you guys is like, how do you guys vet your clients? You just take anyone, or do you got to have insurance? Like, how does someone get into your vortex and your frequency to be able to have, you know, the privilege to sit down and talk with you about food and making a great plan for eating?
Yeah, so we actually, our biggest goal is to like really match our practitioners with their ideal client, and vice versa. Like we really want our people to feel like they have an ally in their health. And Vanessa and I talk about this all the time because she and I have like polar opposite styles in counseling. I'm very like gentle and warm, and I focus a lot on like behavior modification. And she's super like prescriptive and tough love, but we both get really good results, right? Like our patients are all very, very happy and all reach their health goals ultimately, right? And so the goal is for us to really be able to, you know, vet our patients and really ask them, you know, what works for you? What are the conditions that you're trying to manage? What style of counseling works for you? So we do free discovery calls with anyone who's interested. You can book that on our website with any of our practitioners, including Vanessa and myself, and we really kind of dive into what's going on with you. What are your goals? What style of counseling works for you? So we can really get to know you. You can ask us any questions we have, and then we dive into like the insurance stuff and can work with people on checking their benefits, and we're pretty comprehensive. So we kind of, you know, support our clients from the moment that we talk to them to 15-minute discovery call, to insurance checks, to finding the right schedule. So we really work with you to make it happen. It's pretty easy to access us. We do a lot of the work.
Pretty easy to access them.
Yeah.
Please hit them up.
Yeah.
And we're exclusively virtual. So you can work with us from anywhere in the country.
What about girls? Global?
Yeah, we're global. We are.
We're global.
International.
Yeah.
We have a practitioner in Greece. So
Oh wow.
Yeah. She went to Greece for the pandemic. She's Greek, and then she got stuck there. And then she fell in love with a Greek guy who owns a hotel, and she was like, "I'm good here." And I'm like, "We don't blame you." Yeah.
So like, if you're interested in the Mediterranean diet, she's a legit expert.
Yeah. But we're like, girl, stay there because we're trying to vacation. She's like, I got you.
Yeah. Wow. Let's get into like the veganism and vegetarian, because that's another thing I don't know the difference.
Ooh,
but why they've been pushing this vegan life on people's soul?
Oh my God.
I'm like, I get it, but people stop it. No, I get it. Where did it come from?
Do not ever let me get to meet Beyonce. I'm gonna be like, Queen B, you know I love you, but you did us dirty with this vegan thing. Like this is it. Everyone comes in here like, oh, I need to be a vegan. I saw Beyonce was a vegan. I'm like, you know, Beyonce has Beyonce money. You don't have NJZ money. You don't have any money. You cannot. People want to be vegan and people want ease and they want to just like grab and go. And I'm like, well, can't really grab and go if you are vegan. You got to be thinking about it. So being a vegan is pretty restrictive. Being a vegetarian is less restrictive, obviously, because there are some vegetarians that eat eggs. Yeah. So some vegetarians will eat eggs. Some vegetarians will also sometimes eat fish. So like those people for me are just more plant. Yeah, they're just like more plant-based for me. Whereas a vegan, literally there are no animal products, right? So it's just like beans are their source of protein, perhaps like soy or like tofu crumbles and the like. That's so restrictive. You have to there's like few things that you can eat. You have to really get like super creative. A lot of people just don't have that time. Maybe they don't really like to cook that much, and it's hard.
Yeah, and they end up eating.
That was my main concern. I didn't know where to go. I said, it's not like there's vegan markets, so you can just go straight to a vegan market and everything in there is vegan. I gotta like, that takes mental energy. It's like when if you don't like putting on clothes, you hire a stylist. Please help me. Like, I don't want to have to look, where do I need to go to get vegan food that's good? They say I shouldn't eat soy. Oh, damn, what should I eat? You know?
Then there's the whole
it's too much
debate.
to think about. And I think if we can simplify nutrition, food, eating, and make it simple for all people, like this is what I think. So what is something across the board that people can think about and eat on a weekly basis that they know, like, if you just stick to this, I'm assured you that somewhat you'll be in a healthy space. Now that things will change the way, but you'll have some type of, you know, you eat your protein, you get your veggies, you get your carbs, you drink your water. I don't know. Something of that.
Eric,
pretty
it's
much.
that simple. It's that simple. Like,
that's pretty much it.
You don't even know, Eric. These people that come in, they'll be like, I don't like water. You're like, what?
Sorry,
I don't like water?
Yes, they tell you this. Yeah, they'll be like, I have had people be like, I just, you know, like, it just doesn't do anything for me. I'm like, oh, it does do a lot for you. Let me go down the list. Like, this is like, and then there are also the people that are like, I can never go to the bathroom. I'm like, because you need to drink water. So, like, my friends, drink water. Yeah. And don't tell me you drink 30 ounces of water. Please get yourselves over 75 ounces of water. Please have a vegetable at lunch and dinner. And please have one piece of fruit every day. You will find, there's one vegetable out there you like, find it. And there's one piece of fruit out there you like, find it. Those three things, you probably be okay.
And I think like one of the biggest things that people neglect is talking about meal timing too, right? Like, I think people talk about meal timing in the context of intermittent fasting, which is another like buzzy diet that a lot of people are trying right now. But I think one of the simplest things that you could do for your health is having consistent meals where you're eating every 4 hours or so. Each of those meals contains some fruit or a vegetable and protein. That is really going to help to stabilize your blood sugar so you can make a healthy choice at the next meal. I mean, I think 90% of the people we talk to are like eating 2 meals a day, binging at dinner, haven't eaten for 6-7 hours, right? And that is like where people, I think, really get stuck, and then they overeat, and then it affects their sleep at night, and then they're full, they have a stomach ache in the morning, and then the cycle starts again. So, you know, in addition to all of the simple things that you can do that Vanessa mentioned, I think really honing in on the meal timing is important. Like, don't skip meals. Intermittent fasting may be helpful for some people, but the research doesn't really support it as more effective for weight loss than just like a moderate calorie diet. It may have some benefits for insulin resistance, but from a behavioral perspective, it can really trigger some overeating, especially at night. So like really just focusing on consistent meals, I think is so key.
And it's interesting you say all of that because I have history with intermittent fasting, right? Like I haven't eaten this today. I'm probably going to eat in like a few hours, probably have a shake, right? Usually I work out, you know, I have my shake like later in the day, or I'll have a big lunch, right? Big lunch. Yeah, a lot of food at once. And then I'll have some snacks. And then, but it's getting later into the day, and then I realize, well, I can't sleep. Or I didn't even know drinking 1 hour before bed sometimes can keep you up in the middle of the night because it makes you go to the bathroom. So like that type of information and understanding like how your body works, your mind also, I believe food depicts your mood, right? I know when I didn't eat, then I eat, I feel better. Or you feel lethargic or lounge. What is you guys' recommendation for kids? So like I have 3 nephews and a niece, but I also have friends who have boys, and some of them don't like eat chicken, you know, but they want to go eat pasta. And, you know, it's just kids with food is so different now. What is the quickest or the easiest or the simplest way for them to kind of like build into like a diet of, no, it's okay, eat it? Or my nephew, he won't eat his veggies, but he'll eat the candy or the sweets or the, you know what I'm saying? But, and he know not to eat vegetables. Like he will intentionally not eat
it. so your nephew is normal. Yeah, he's totally normal.
Yeah.
And so I kind of like hybrid. There's this thought process of like division of responsibility where you provide the kid the safe food. So like maybe sometimes the snacks will be candy, and like your nephew can have candy for snacks. And sometimes you got to be responsible, fam. It's going to be carrots, so that you could do that. You can also just like, you provide the safe food, and then you also provide the food that you want the kid to try, and eventually the kid will try it. So I will say from my experience, my son, that did not work. And so my other way about it was I buy vegetables at the beginning of the week, and I have the kids slice them up, and we have carrots and celery and bell peppers. These are all from what they will eat, cucumbers, and then they have to grab fresh cut vegetables and put on their plate. And so then they have to eat these carrots or these cucumbers they picked, and they have to do it. So that's how I get them to eat the vegetables. The thing about the chicken and stuff, it's like they will eat it, just keep offering it to them. Also, like, maybe the kid just wants to be a vegetarian, and this is where we start to explain to them, right? Like, okay, well, chicken has protein, and mom and dad eat chicken. But if you don't want to eat chicken and you want to try beans, well, beans are a type of protein. Protein is what fuels your body, and it helps to give you energy along with carbohydrate. If you eat the carbohydrate by itself, it will get digested quickly and you will feel tired. If you pair it with a protein, you will feel full for longer. And then they do it, and then they get it. So you're not attaching morality to food. You're actually educating them early on. And so my kids get it now. They'll be like, my son is not really big on meat products. Neither is my daughter, but my son, like, only if Yaya makes it, he'll eat it. So he'll be like, well, I'll have eggs. Yeah, he calls my mom Yaya. So he'll be like, yeah, okay, well, I'll eat eggs because that's protein, and I don't want to feel hungry later in the middle of the night when I'm going to sleep. So, like, give him that's a choice, and that's acceptable. And then he has to eat the vegetable, and sometimes he'll have chips with his eggs, and he feels like he's in control. That's kind of how they want to be in control. Think about, you're a kid, your whole life is told to you, unless your parents don't care about you. And so, but your parents are going to shovel food down your throat unless they're monsters. So this is where they yield power. Like, what are you going to do? Like, I just don't eat this. You're not going to do anything to me.
Yeah, and I think it starts young too, right? Like, the research is saying the newest research that's coming out is saying to avoid picky eating, really just like engage in family meals with your kids as much as possible and really model that behavior, right? Like, you can't tell your kid to eat the vegetables and not eat it yourself. It's just not going to work, right? Like, everybody sit down at the dinner table and we're all eating vegetables, right? So I think that's really key too. There's like different ways that we approach feeding young children. There's like, baby-led weaning and purees, whatever your choice is with the little ones. Just eat with your kids for as many meals as you can, and model that behavior where you're like, I'm eating my broccoli now, and it's really good. And, kind of working with your kids on exposing them to different foods. And it's okay if they don't want to eat it. It's okay if you don't want this. Let's try again next time, right? So not putting pressure on them, I think, is also really important, like Vanessa was saying.
So, it just got an epiphany when you were speaking. Does food presentation entice a kid's, like, taste buds? Because I feel like all kids love pizza. They love pizza. They see pizza, they're going to eat it.
And also, pizza smells so good, right?
And tastes so good.
So, like, the first time, you first eat with your eyes and then your nose.
There you go. Eyes and nose.
Yeah. And so when you start to smell, like, right, the olfactory senses start going, you're like, you could kind of taste it in your mouth, and you're really excited about it. And then you eat it. Although my son does have a friend that doesn't eat pizza. It's so weird. So you have, like, you go to the birthday parties, and like his mother has to bring him a sandwich because he doesn't eat pizza. It's like, what? But yeah, like, so that looks good. It's appealing. That's right. Kids don't like it when you, like, mix all the food together. It needs to be separate. Like, they want to, like, trust what they got. And if you mix it all together, like, that's not working. But you don't want to hide the food. You want your kids to trust you, and you want them to feel like they have some autonomy. And you also have to think, I don't want to eat oatmeal every day, so maybe neither does my kid. You know what I mean? Like, you're the parent trying to do stuff for ease, but, like, do you operate that way? Probably not. So
that's big. Hey,
yeah.
That's like I tell my clients and people, I can't tell you something I'm not willing to do.
Yeah,
exactly.
Do 10 burpees if I'm not willing to do it, right?
Exactly.
So and then, like, I'm still on this topic of presentation, and, like, why do kids love sugar so much, right? Like, you give them candy, they just take it. They don't even question it. Like, even so, money. If I show my nephews money, 2, 3 years old, they're trying to grab it out the phone.
Yeah.
Like, what do they subconsciously know that they want to have it?
Our brains
Well,
are actually wired for this, right? So
Yeah.
our primary fuel source is glucose, right? Glucose fuels our brain and it also fuels our muscles. And the most concentrated form of glucose comes in the form of sugar. It doesn't get more concentrated than that, right? So it really is like evolutionary, that we truly are wired to crave these foods because, you know, historically they've kept us alive as a species. However, like as a species, we've evolved in many ways, although our genes haven't evolved much at all. And, you know, that's why we have an obesity epidemic, right? That's why we have type 2 diabetes. So it's part of our human brain to want sugar. That's why young children prefer the taste of sweet things over bitter things, right?
Or even pets. Dogs want treats. They hear
Yeah.
that T word, they go nuts. Like,
well,
like, what are these people that's making this doing to these people's brains? It's crazy.
I know. It's like,
well, in the kids' defense, right? Everything tastes more bitter to them. So
Oh,
things
okay.
bother them more, right? Because like their taste buds have to evolve. And then for the dog, do you know that a dog's taste buds are actually in its stomach? So the dog,
I didn't know that.
My cousin is a vet. He explained this to me. So the dog, right? The dog like smells something and is like, I got to get that inside my stomach fast so that I can actually taste it. And so after they've already eaten something, that's when they realize like, oh, that probably didn't taste so good. Yeah.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fun fact. Yeah.
Well, so, you know, what do you guys have out, or what do you have you promoting lately? Do you have any books out? I feel like y'all should do it. Do you have a podcast? Y'all should be on a podcast.
Oh my gosh,
like,
the podcast. Thank you, Eric.
You'll be our first
This
guest.
is a project. Yes, you're going to be on.
Yeah,
this is a project
like,
Vanessa and I have been talking about for so long.
People need to see y'all and they need to hear y'all, because the more visible you are, the more we get to see this, the more we start building confidence, right? Like, oh, I need to. Okay. There was somebody on here that said, I need to do that with my kids. I need to learn more so I can help them.
Yeah.
Like, it's education. I always say information changes situation. So y'all have information that's going to give people access to their body and mind with food in a different way, you know, outside of, you know, the business of the coaching and the personalized plans. So what's the best way to people to reach y'all and reach out? Because I think we need to have like a wellness event. Like, we need to have like
let's do it.
you know, podcast with recipes and booklets. Like, I just see it. Like, I want to do a boot camp and work out. You know,
let's do it. We're gonna come to LA.
We're coming to LA because we're gonna host a dinner, and you better come. I'm gonna slide into your
DMs.
Really? You better email me.
Yes.
It's
gonna be fine.
Working out the details, but we wanted to like have this like, you know, hold space with other wellness people and other like entrepreneurs to come in and like learn about us, but also learn about you, Eric, or you know, somebody over here, right? Like, you know, it's a thing. Like, you're coming with your network, I'm coming with my network, and you're gonna like we'll learn about each other, and then we can refer each other and talk about each other. But it would be amazing to hold like an event where we can do stuff.
Do a pop-up.
We're so into this.
You know, well, I mean, because here's the thing. People, for one, in this pandemic, people want to go out more, right? They want to be out.
Yes.
I feel like now that we have new information based on what's happening in the world, my intentions with fitness and wellness is totally different. I'm actually working on something that I'm going to be building, and it's going to be around being fit, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, financially, because it's not enough to look good and not feel
That's right.
It's not enough to eat good, but you don't eat good. It's not enough to eat good, but you don't feel good about yourself, right? You talk about mental health. So how do we bring that together? Like, you ladies got the health portion, you can speak on it, you can talk about it. I can come and bring the energy, motivate, work out, however. But
I love this.
About collabing in these spaces to open up, you know, the stratosphere for people to kind of think differently about food, right?
Yeah,
I'm not
totally.
saying you can't cake and eat it too. I'm just saying, just don't have your cake every day and eat it. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah, like, I said, listen, I don't want you not to do that. I just want you to be aware when you do that, what it does to your body. You're throwing up right now. What did you have last night?
Right.
Okay. So you tell me how you want to feel. I know how I want to feel.
I want to feel good. I want
I
to
don't
sleep
want to
at
throw
night.
up after
I don't want to throw
workout, I'll
up. No,
tell
I
you
don't.
that.
But I want to do that Eric workout. I'm coming out
Yes,
with
I will
workout.
not be throwing up.
No, I
will
won't.
be
I'll
in the
be.
sun. We're gonna come in
Yeah,
February
but
when it's
it's just
real cold.
people need the confidence from professionals like you ladies, and they need to know. Like for me, I was really into like blood type. I'm O positive, so I'm like, cool. I'm like, so I can't have almond butter or peanut butter or
No,
cashew, whatever
no,
was
you
in there.
can. No, you can't. Oh, because they were saying you can't. Eric, just
Right?
call us.
So
We gonna
still,
we
Just
gonna
you
call
know,
us.
so, yeah. But
we got
everything
you.
in moderation, right?
That's right.
You just
That's
can't
right.
live life and not have problems, and you're like clueless. Like what?
No, and I mean, like, who can live without peanut butter? I mean, no one. I mean, that's
And like,
like we
Yeah,
don't
go through
avoid
jars.
unnecessary food. You know, like
yeah.
I think
And then
that's the problem.
I try not to eat dairy, but I realize dairy is in a lot of things. You look at the ingredients, but you won't know if the mind a placebo. Because
Yeah.
once it's in your mind, it can affect your body. But if you're not aware of it, it doesn't have that much impact on your life. So,
I think,
ladies,
Eric, I feel like you tried the vegan, the intermittent fasting, no dairy, no
because
peanut
I can't
butter. What is going
fight it,
on
I
here?
haven't done. Yeah, I will go a month and won't listen to music. Right? Like just to like, I like to challenge myself to see who am I going to be. Like, okay, you don't have no sweets. I stopped drinking 2 years ago, right? Like, not that I would never have a drink again, but let's see how you are when you don't drink for 2 years or a year.
Well rested and
Uh,
glowing. It's a glow. I have not drank either, and it's like,
Yeah,
remember,
it's
Same.
different.
It's been 2 years. I'll
sleep at
pass.
night. I sleep at night. People are like it was my birthday today. Like, you're not having a drink. I'm like, no, but I'm gonna sleep tonight.
Waiting.
Right.
Yeah.
I work out in the morning.
Yeah.
I feel
And then
great.
you evolve, you change, and things change, and it's okay. I'm just a person of, I'm a doer. I'm the way shower. Like, I got to do it, then I'll show you. I can't tell you something I haven't done. If I have a book, I'm going to go read it. I need to go for myself. They can't tell me, yeah, Culina Health, I like it, but it's expensive. It's like, well, hold on, let me go see it. I'm not going to take your opinion. You know, I need to see for myself. So I think it's important. I think it's vital. I just want to say thank you, ladies, for showing up the way you do in the health space, health and wellness. Thank you for being bold and dominant and confident and being, courageous to have a brand and to be consistent and to show up for people, to help them with the most precious asset in the world is food. We all need food, and that is what keeps us going, keeps us thriving, and also makes us feel good. And honestly, like, for some people in their mind, that might be their only pleasure or joy. I have a cousin, he owns a restaurant, and he loves food, right? This guy is a phenomenal businessman. He makes a lot of money. But he said his biggest challenge is like he can't not the food, like, because he know if he would eat a certain way, his life would be better.
Yeah.
But it's hard. It's like,
Send them to us. We'll help you.
Yep, we got it. Done.
I'm serious. Just send us an email. Send them to us. We'll do it. We'll fix it.
Yeah. So I just want to say thank you. If there's anything you ladies want to share or to keep us up on, or we can find you guys on your social sites, or if you got any activations coming up, and I feel like you guys have a book. You just have that.
It's in the works. It's in the works.
Y'all have that like that synergy, that persona. Like, yo, I want to listen to them. I want to listen to them. Like, they know what they're talking about. So.
Thank you.
You're so nice.
You can find us on culinahealth.com, and our Instagram handle is at Culina Health. Vanessa is Vanessa Rossetto RD. I'm Tamar Samuels RD. And we have a lot of fun stuff in the works. Like I said, if you want to learn more about our services, hop on a free call with us. We're happy to chat with you, talk more about your goals, and really just get to know you and see how we can help you.
I like it. I love it. It just was amazing. So thank you. I appreciate it. People are totally excited for this. Yes, we do. Because this health thing that ladies are providing will save lives mentally, emotionally, physically, and financially. Because what I realized, when you find a consistent way to eat food, you save on spending money on the wrong food, right? Because you have a regimen, you have a routine. So Culina Health. Tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Have a beautiful week. Be safe. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. We'll see you soon.
See you soon.
Bye to you and Callie.
All right, bye. There we go. That was awesome. Follow them. They're amazing. Culina Health. Yes, Culina Health on Instagram. All right, guys. Have a beautiful day. Fun week. Happy Thanksgiving. Be safe. Love your loved ones. Hug your neighbors. And just be great and be kind to yourself. Bigger Talks podcast. We out. Peace and love.